let's come back to the studio with Victor Udoh, the Secretary General of Niger Delta Intelligentsia Team. You know, in different parts of Nigeria, there is this proverb that says, the witch cried yesterday and the baby died today. I mean, who is not, you know, sure that it's the witch that's responsible for the death of the baby. We've heard in the past few weeks, you know, threats coming from the Udoh youth, you know, Rivers State in general, that if this happens, this will happen. And now you have the situation. 2 pipelines have been, you heard our reporter there say, look, definitely it was sabotage involved. I mean, how is all of this, you know, playing out to you? And would you say the president is justified, you know, saying because of this situation where this is now, a state of emergency has to be declared in Rivers State?
First and foremost, let me say it's quite a gloomy day in the Niger Delta. Because for a very long time now, we've not had incidences where we see thick smoke in the skies of our communities, especially when they are associated with deliberate human interference in terms of what you will refer to as bridging or vandalism. Then secondly, the Niger Delta people that supposedly pride herself as the cradle of political democracy in Nigeria, whether you talk of Professor Udoh, the Calabar Youth Movement that became the Nigerian Youth Movement that became the first political party in Nigeria, or you talk about when Calabar was already having 2 representatives in Buckingham Palace, when the other parts of Nigeria were yet to even know what was democracy. And then a situation has necessitated that this reality that the Niger Delta people are the cradle of in this country is being affected today. It is saddened to me as a Niger Deltan who has always been in the forefront advocating for the advancement of the cause of the Niger Delta. I say this because I know that the president made an informed decision. All of us could only pinch from a fraction of what the president has at his disposal before making this decision. But the sum total of the availability of information, possibilities, and futuristic projections, as social science will say, is at the table of the president, and he made this decision. And that is our belief. In saying, in summing up this, I believe that it is a golden opportunity for the dramatic personnel within the political upheaval in the state of Rivers, or Rivers State as you may want to call it, to come to the table. I am saying this because even sworn enemies like America and Russia, Ukraine and Russia, everybody is coming to the table. Hamas and Israel, Israel and Hezbollah. I think that this window of 6 months is a golden opportunity for all the political dramatic personnel in Rivers State to come to the table and forget about this high horse riding and look at the interests of the people and the survival of democracy and the sustenance of the output of oil in the Niger Delta that comes to guarantee infrastructural development.
I saw you nodding in agreement with our correspondent Ovietimay George when he talked about this is not common, especially in the Gokana area of Rivers State. Do you want to expatiate on that, how this is uncommon? I mean, you are intelligent when it comes to oil and gas. I'm
not just intelligent when it comes to oil and gas. I'm very familiar with the Trans-Niger pipeline that cuts across Abia, Rivers, Imo, and Bayelsa State.
Great.
We've had privilege to do a lot of research, demographic evaluation of the surveillance job at that area. So we're very familiar with it. The Ogoni land, which Gokona, Tari, and the rest local government constitute, are people who have had real issues concerning the Niger Delta struggle. And I think 222 and thereabout, some agreements were reached, and then some activities began. And of late, there is that deliberate intention by the federal government to reactivate oil exploration. And instead of deploying more soldiers and more military, the president in his wisdom felt that creating a university, expanding community engagement, and expanding the level of conversation will serve better. So this incident is like a major setback to us. And I was very, very, very a little bit bitter when your correspondent was establishing. I have not gone to the site yet because I got this invite this afternoon and I had to come along. Yeah. Establish that there is a digging and this, which specified that is
human interference.
Human interference.
Well, you saw the video. It was
yes,
there.
it's a human interference. It's saddening. I want to use this opportunity to call on Ogoni youth, to call on the Udoh youth, to call on the Ekwere, to call on the Oraches, to call on all the young persons within Rivers State and the Niger Delta, not to be carried away by the drums of political differences and get themselves swindled into activities that degrade our environment. We have been in the advocacy of Ogoni must be cleaned up for too long. Yeah. And now we have seen in the last 3, 4, 5 years, we have seen consistency in deliberate effort to recover the community. Okay. For the first time, I saw a tree growing in where oil damaging of environment has happened was last year.
You know, that imagery is very, very apt. And Victor Udoh, Secretary General, Niger Delta Intelligentsia Team, thank you so much for joining us, and hoping all the youths that you addressed, you know, are listening and reason will prevail.